Hello YouTubers, my name is X Factor. This is Rogue Transmission Rush Defense, and that was a stalled out jet. I haven't played a lot of Rush, and I'm going to do some armor gameplay right here, focusing on the third set of mcoms. This is the first time the defenders get a piece of armor, and this area is such a clusterfuck, it's insane. I'm literally trying to figure out, hey, can I go up this side of the dish? Do I really want to go up this side of the dish? The answer is yes, you can, but death would quickly ensue if the assaulters are established, because the assaulters are primarily going to come from the construction site that I'll be looking at in a little bit. They can come down this ramp, which is going to kind of be my focal point. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, where can I pillar, where can I position, and do I really want to go up this secondary ramp, which is to my right? And I'm actually going to back it up this thing. Why? Because I see their LAV. I know primarily where the bad guys are coming. The last thing I want to do is go up that thing with my rear showing, because one good shot with a tow or an RPG could disable me. Critical disable means you're not moving. You can't even rotate your tank. So even if you pop APS, you're dead in the water. So a little backing up here, get stuck, gotta try it again. And I'm glad I pulled up this way, because I'm literally gonna pop my APS. It's gonna bail me out, because look at all these triangles. Holy shit. You can see the APS eats all those shots. I got the green Christmas tree going off on my tank, and time to go back down. So this is the way that most of the enemies are going to funnel, all the way to my right that I'm kind of looking across right there. That's going to be my primary threat. And this is going to be my secondary threat right here, is this ramp. What I learned tanking this little area is you want to extend the funnel. Okay? So what happens if I drive my tank right up Main Street and get super aggressive? Number one, I'm going to die. Number two, it's going to allow all the enemies to pour down this area and to put us in this little kill zone, a death box. So as my team's spawning back the infantry players, and they're going to be running towards the mcoms, it's a funnel. We don't want the bad guys to get set up on these angles, because these angles are what create those nasty death boxes. So I'm trying to find a spot where I can position, trying to check that out, see if I can kill that wall, because that's one of the mcoms. That'll come into play here, and there's bad guys back there. And before I get too much further, Pink Flappy, thank you for the reps. He's a community member. He said, hey, don't worry about it. I got the repair tool. So every once in a while I chirp, hey, you want to rep me here? I think we're safe. Okay, get in. Even we're not at full health, because sometimes it's getting just enough repairs in you just to move location before the infantry hit you. The biggest worry I have when tanking in Battlefield 4 is not the other vehicles. You can position for those. It's the sneaky infantry, all the engineering weapons that are in the game that can lock on and cause mass damage, such as the law. If a couple engineers have the law, you're going to have a bad day, especially if they surprise you. If they have an RPG and one good shot, that's 55 damage if it's straight in the rear. It's critical disable, you can't turn around. So here I'm trying to line up a shot off that steel pillar. Not a lot of luck, but it's about keeping that LAV in check. If you see something, it doesn't mean you have to kill it. A tank is a deterrent, so me just being out on this flank, just kind of chilling here, not coughing this area up, is a big deterrent, because if somebody doesn't have an anti-tank solution, they're probably not going to come rushing at you like an idiot. But you do have to pay attention to the bush Wookiees and the support players, and that was kind of a tough spot to play, this little rock, because I'm sliding around. And the other thought process you have to have is, does my gunner have a good shot? Am I sliding around, making it tough for him? You want to be in a position where you have an out or two. So whenever you get into a spot where you can pillar, do you have an out position behind you? I'm going to try to back up behind that building, or I'm going to try to do a little S-turn behind me, or I'm going to pull forward. Depends on what's going on. The last thing you want to do is put yourself in a situation, not have an out, panic back up, run to something like a pillar that we're looking at here, another vehicle, or anything that's under here, and be a cooked goose. And that's the worst thing. The most important thing is to establish your position, the angles of threat you've got to worry about. Take a look at secondary angles, kind of how I did a peek there, and kind of back up a little bit. Show a different look. Don't just sit there, because the last thing you want to do is be a stagnant target. Now, let's talk about the shell I'm using. I'm hitting the dish with the straightest shooting shell in the game, the Sabo. If I would have had the HE, I wouldn't have hit any of those shots. And you can see even with that Sabo, it caused some issues. So here's a problem. Their tank is in the mcom, and it's an angle problem. See how when I give it that side look, I don't have the angle? He did me a favor. He backed up. So there I pop APS. I need to get out of here, but I got a problem. I outran my repper. I'm showing side. Side damage is almost as bad as rear damage. If it's a 90-degree angle to that tank, no matter what shell, it's going to hurt a lot. If he's got the HE shell, it could be a ton of damage. So he's giving me some repairs. The HMG is my secondary. It does overheat, so you do have to be careful with that, but it takes a while to overheat. If you give it a split-second break, literally a split second, every, I don't know, 10, 11 shots, it will never overheat on you, so you can keep this cycle going. And as you can see, the HMG doesn't just damage little birds, transports, attack choppers, but the AMRAPs as well. ATVs, a lot of the smaller vehicles. So trying to reestablish this position, because again, I don't want to lose this. If these bad guys come flooding down this back ramp, take out the tank, we're going to get squeezed in, because look at all this cover. They got the building behind us. They've got all this stuff. I'm in a lot of trouble. So I need to keep both these vehicles in check. Then, of course, you have to balance your ammo. I've got 4 shells on me right now with another one recharging, so I can't afford to spam them. You will rarely see me shoot a main shell towards infantry, soft targets. It's really a waste, because the Sabo, unless it's a direct hit, it's not going to kill him. It has very little to no splash damage. So there you see me toggle straight to the HMG. If you see an AMRAP like that or a vehicle, you can start off with the HMG, then secondary shot, then quick toggle over back to the HMG, and probably within a primary and a secondary HMG spam of about 15 or so, you can kill that AMRAP. And again, the secondary gunner can do damage as well. So here I am angling the front of my tank. Why? Because I take less damage in the front. And as you can see, there are rockets coming in, and I've got a little help from teammates. That's the good news. So every time you can adjust that angle to reduce the damage, that's important. So it's not just where your tank is, it's also what angle your tank is facing. Do you see a new threat? Well, can you finish off a shot in a tank? But there's a new threat coming in that might disable you. It's better to stay alive as a tanker than go chasing those little blurps of kills. So right now, there's a ton of laws down here. There's nothing you can do about those, and they reload so fast. We're in a bad spot. The good news is they don't do a ton of damage, so you can somewhat repair through them, and I just realized I was going to try to double rep this real quick, that I was the recon from earlier. So I'm going to push back down, but we're in a little bit of trouble here, and as you can see, the HMG works very, very well in this situation. At this point in time, you can see what happens when you start to get surrounded. This guy's got some sandwiches he's trying to share with me. That's the nightmare that this area can be. If you roll the tank right up Main Street, you're going to get destroyed. If you go up on top of the dish and the assaulters are established on the construction site from the last mcoms or on the dish itself, you're going to get destroyed. You're a free shot for every single vehicle out there. And what was once controlled is now lost. Look how quick that tide turned, and look how crazy that got. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you soon.